I'm Alex Larson, dietitian, Ironman finisher, and host of Endurance Eats, the podcast where we break down the science of endurance nutrition and turn it into clear, practical nutrition advice to revolutionize how you think about fueling your body. So grab a seat, or keep moving if you're out training, and let's get started. Welcome back to the bonus series of the Endurance Eats podcast. We're calling these the mid-season fuel episodes. They're short and sweet, but packed with actionable info. As I prep for the next season, I didn't want to leave you hanging, so I'm answering some frequently asked questions. Part of my job when working one-on-one with athletes is talking about nutrient timing of meals and snacks with your unique life scenarios, but also timing in fueling around workouts. Everyone has different situations, so we often troubleshoot and practice to see what works best for them. Nutrient timing is also one of the most common questions that I receive when I do an Ask Me Anything Q&A in my Instagram stories. And this is also your hint to make sure that you're following me on Instagram at Alex Larson Nutrition. So let's walk through 3 different workout timing scenarios. There's a lot of variables with every individual needs and schedule. So you have my full permission. In fact, I actually recommend you tweak and adjust to find what works best for you. And hopefully, as I talk through these scenarios, it gives you some inspiration and ideas in how to do so. I'm going to start with the scenario of the morning workouts. Okay, we're going to work chronologically throughout the day here. So with an early morning start time, the top challenge here is pre-workout fueling. I'm definitely with everyone else in refusing to wake up extra early to take in my pre-workout fuel and have enough time to allow it to digest before the workout. My sleep is very precious to me, so that's just like a non-negotiable that I'm not waking up extra early. But this is where the liquid carbs come in clutch because they digest the fastest. You can get that fresh energy that you need to have a great workout since you fasted all night long because you were sleeping. Things like a carb-rich sports drink, some applesauce, you could do some sports fuels like some gels, waffles, energy chews too, whatever kind of floats your boat here, but the more liquid-based stuff is going to digest the fastest. It's also going to depend on the type of workout you're doing. So for cycling, most will tolerate some solid food right before the workout. So you can do something like a Pop-Tart, some toast, a bagel. Whereas with runners, because there's that jostling motion, that might cause the food to not sit very well. Ultra runners are kind of the exception. They tend to have a really iron stomach. They tolerate all sorts of solid foods, so there may be a little bit more flexibility in what you eat for your early morning runs if you're more of that ultra running style runner. Regardless, though, I would keep it to a mainly carb-rich sources and keep the protein, the fat, the fiber content of those food items fairly low so that it's not sitting in your stomach for longer because those things tend to take longer to digest. And the longer that it sits there, it's potentially going to cause some discomfort and GI issues. If you're going to be doing a very long early morning workout, I'd even consider doing like a mini carb load the day before to really help load up those muscle glycogen stores and set you up for success in that long workout. If the workout is a little later in the morning, maybe you get to sleep in a little, maybe you have to get the kids out the door or dropped off at school first, I would have a carb-rich breakfast 1, even 2 hours before, depending on what time you wake up. Keep it in lower fat content, and some protein's fine in here, but this will really help you go into that workout feeling energized and ready to go. Also, I find that having a little bit larger snack or a meal will actually trigger your bowels to get moving along for the morning, so that having that 1 to 2 hour time frame not only allows things to digest and empty from your stomach, but it allows also for the bathroom business to be taken care of, and you can just go into that workout even more, ready to go. The next scenario, that's the midday workouts, and I will admit this is the time frame that I struggle the most with myself. Most days I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and it's last minute when I decide to squeeze in my trainer ride or my run, and so I sometimes will fail at timing my nutrition really well. But here's my suggestions, because lunchtime is really what gets in the way here with timing. So there's a few options that you could consider. Option number 1, have a mid-morning carb-rich snack to fuel that lunchtime training session, and then have lunch serve as your post-workout meal to help with recovery. Option 2, if your midday training is more around like a 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you'd have an early lunch around like 1:30 noon. Make sure there's some decent carbs in there to provide energy for your workout. If you find that your stomach is a little bit more sensitive, you could have the lunch be a little lighter and then have your post-training refueling that would kind of round out the remaining nutrition that you'd have had eaten in your lunch, and making sure it has that carbs to protein combo. Those are maybe my scenarios for the mid-morning or the midday workout. And then the final scenario is the evening workout. This one is honestly the easiest for me because I have young kids and we have dinner fairly early, like 5:30 p.m. So I often will have just a normal dinner, and then when they go to bed at 7:30, I'll get ready to start my workout afterwards and have some quick carbs leading up to that. And then I'll have a small post-workout snack afterwards and rehydrate. If your evening workout is an early evening, in that case, I would usually recommend having an afternoon snack, have it be carb rich focused, and then a post-workout dinner and rehydrate so that you don't go to bed dehydrated. And if your training session takes up the entire evening, then you're just screwed. I'm just kidding. Okay, so this is where you're going to make nutrition a top priority if you are pretty much training throughout the whole evening. Dinner would consist of mini meals before and after that long evening workout. And so you'll want to eat really well earlier on in the day to make up for the minimal dinner that you're likely going to be having because you're training throughout it. So make sure that you fuel the workout itself really, really well. That way you don't go into sleeping that night at a huge nutritional deficit and then you're struggling to recover. All right, so those are the 3 scenarios. Hopefully you got some inspiration there in how to tweak the timing of how you fuel around workouts. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram, and feel free to submit your questions in my next Ask Me Anything in my Instagram stories. If you're wanting more personalized help, feel free to reach out. Let's talk more about my one-on-one nutrition coaching program and if it would be a good fit for you. You can head to alexlarsonnutrition.com to get more info on that program. Happy fueling!